And unlike Kyle, I think we're going to be not late. Just an idea I had, you know? Just this tiny little idea that I just wanted to get across. Also, Carl Man, a bad man? Carl Man, special man. Very, very, very special man. You know, I forgot one thing. Got one goddamn thing. First, why did I forget this of all things? Oop. And we'll be back in half a second. And we should be back. There we go. Martin Calendar says, why hasn't the Divinity stream ended? Because Carl is not particularly good at nagging Arch. So, yeah, it's always going to be Kyle's fault. Always. But yeah, Arch has this tendency of not really pressing the end stream button. But it's still Kyle's fault. So we blame Kyle for it. It's that simple, really. Vernon Barknum says earlier you were supposed to start in a minute. Well, the problem is I'm not Kyle. That's kind of the problem, isn't it? Kyle always starts late. I start early, for I am not Kyle. Meme Gene 69 says, nice picture. Indeed, I do like it. Neonix who drew it. She is on the server, I think. Doesn't really say anything, though. Sounds about right. Blame the one meant for breeding. Exactly. Exactly indeed. Clap cheeks as punishment. Well, Kyle, cheeks are going to be clapped. Cheeks are going to be smacked and clapped and things. Things! Kyle says gay. You are right, Kyle. You are in fact rather gay. Kyle man. Gay man? Kyle man likes being gay man. Yeah, well, back to Grimderp. And this time I don't think we're gonna risk doing the thing that was called multiplayer. My poor fucking internet didn't really like that very much. So I think we're gonna try to avoid that. That went rather poorly. Ah, yes, I feel stronger. Stronger I feel. Deverathan says, I want to say late, but Kibs said to bully Bob, so I shall do the opposite. Yeah, bully Kyle. That's exactly what you should do. Okay, we talk to that guy, so down in the hole we go. Submit your own nature, Kyle. Yeah, Kyle, why haven't you been bred yet? Despite the attempts, there has been no successful breeding of Kyle, as far as I know. Now, if someone wants to try to correct me on that, feel free to, but as far as I know, there haven't been any successful ones. Probably enable this ability. Probably wouldn't hurt. Smack, smack. Ah, RNG abilities. I fucking love you. Sometimes I sit there for like half an hour and it's like, I'm doing no damage, and there's proc, 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 proc. It's like, wow. Where was that damage? Like a billion years ago. Eating pizza. Type with pinky so keyboard no greasy. Have you tried eating less greasy pizza? Actually, have you tried putting a plastic bag over your keyboard? I hear that works wonders. Our build is so... nothing. It's just auto attack. Retaliation builds. You're so fucking lazy. Or just type with the other hand. Yeah, that works too. Unless Kyle uses both hands to eat pizza like some kind of savage. I wouldn't actually be surprised if he did that. He is quite the savage. Like, eating with both hands works fine. Unless it's something like pizza. Then it's like, why? Why are you doing this, bro? Do Americans eat with both hands? I imagine they eat using their hands dependent on their need, like most people do. I know there's the whole idea that Americans are kind of special, but I mean, they're not always completely retarded. And if there's one thing Americans specialize in, it's certainly eating food. Muslo. Now, one thing that's kind of nice about retaliation builds like this, I can just use one hand. Which, I mean, it's not that much of an advantage in a game like this. If the game was of a different type of game, it would be an advantage. But for this, not really. Savage Diadem. That's like salvage. That's basically looting. Why is there a zombie there? One thing that would be kind of nice would be to have a charge. Oh well. We'll just sit here being lazy with our hold down left click. I haven't actually let go of left click in quite a while now, actually. Whack, thwack. Oh no. Immobilize effects. Eating meat with one hand and beating meat with the other. That sounds like an American thing. I'm not sure that many people masturbate while eating. But, I mean, I'm not entirely certain. But I would assume as much. Yeah, we've just gotta get rid of all the other ads here. Because, yeah. I don't want to fight the boss and ads at the same time. That would be kinda problematic. Yeah, time to let go. There, we let go of the button. I'm so proud of myself. Nah. Certainly nah. Alright, using, let's see. Damn, it's knockoff Kibs. Where? How? Who? What? Huh? To be fair, greasy pizza is dirty. Yes, it is. Well, it's greasy. It's not much dirt on it. At least I hope so. But it certainly is greasy, and it can make a mess. That's why I always eat it over the plate, if it's that greasy. Haha, Bubs, knock off Kibs, haha. What's wrong, Kyle? What's wrong, are you mad? Kyle, man, madman? Now, I wonder how this build will compare to the Death Knight build I made, because that one was just auto-attack everything to death. The problem with that build was that it was very much a case of either you'll beat it or you won't beat it, because it kind of had this problem. All I could do was stand still, because it was entirely based on life leech, so whenever I attacked, I healed. And if I got stunned or anything like that, that would just about mean instant death. Back. Let's see. Any good loot? Doesn't look like it. Grab you though. Cunning. No thanks. In the Far Cry 4, there's a boss battle where you win by running away from the ads, because if you stop to deal with them, you get murdered. There are a few games with boss battles like that. They're not all that uncommon, really. But in ARPGs in general, that's not the case. It's not a genre that incentivizes running away, usually. Since the whole thing is built around whacking things. The story is very much secondary. And I'm pretty sure that Far Cry 4 tries to have a story. I could be wrong, of course. I never actually did play Far Cry 4. I only ever played Far Cry 5. And Far Cry 2. I never did finish Far Cry 2. I got mad. I got not mad, I just got fed up with the fucking save system. Because there's no fucking autosaves in that game. So you can just wander off for like an hour doing derpy things, but the game will never have saved. And if I remember correctly, the save system was exclusively manual, where you had to go to a save point. I might be wrong, but I think so. I think that was correct. So, one time too many after I died, I just got fed up and never played it again. God. Games have fucking autosaves. Yes, it's kind of janky. Yeah, it did have autosaves. It's just not whenever you were out roaming. Like, there were none when you were out roaming, basically. To be fair, Bubs is tired. He's going with some decent steam. Well, yeah, I'm a bit tired, but that's primarily because I kind of spent a couple of hours chopping wood not too long ago. It's kind of hard work. Particularly when the fucking wood is so goddamn wet. It's just like, I'm just gonna let the axe sink into me and be like, ha, you wanted to split me? Ha 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 ha! Fuck you! I shall sit here whole. And it's just sitting there, just. I like knockoff Kibs. At least he reads chat once in a while. Well, we do read chat. It's just. It's a bit harder to have a conversation while also reading chat. So, because we usually stream, Kyle and I, it's also depends a bit on the game. For instance, when you actually have to micro shit, it gets significantly harder to read chat. I'm hoping this won't kill me. Sadly, I'll need to pay attention to this, so, yeah. So I don't know, and I'll be taking a fuck ton of damage. Retaliation on AoEs. I love you. You are rather nice. And that procced. Nice. Far Cry 2 had pretty interesting gimmicks, but overall I remember it being pretty janky, yes. Favorite horror game? Don't really like horror games, personally. My favorite one? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of horror games, that's the thing, so it's like I can claim that a horror game's my favorite, but I don't really like them. It's just not my kind of thing. So, as a favorite, I don't know. I don't really have one, I guess. Somehow I doubt 2 didn't. Yeah, it did have at certain points, but it was during the roaming, so if you just roamed around for an hour doing things, just fuck you. That's what the game would do. It would just give you a nice little fuck you. Get this right. Another ring. Not worth it. Far Cry 2 is at its best when you play multiplayer on custom maps. Never did that. I only played, I don't know, some 8 maybe hours of Far Cry 2. I want to say 8. Somewhere about there, I think. Mind that Far Cry 1 was a completely different game from all the sequels. A lot of the Far Cry games are very different from each other. I mean, they kind of became formulaic, but, you know. Things. Stuff. Things. Are you any better? Increased physical damage. I don't think I have anything. It has a bit better. Not really all that good. What are you? You are an improvement, though. You go there. And no other sword. Fondest Minecraft memory. Ah, that's a tough one. Well, it's certainly playing with friends. I'm not sure what I would classify my fondest, but one that I certainly remember is making like a long-ass road through a jungle for no real reason. I'm not sure I'd consider my fondest, but it's certainly one that I can think of. It's one I remember fairly well. Not sure why. Dead Space, not quite Horror 3, that is. Well, I fucking hated Dead Space, I hated Dead Space 1 because of the fucking controls being jank as fuck. Like, God, on PC the controls are jank. Oh man. Bad man. Oh man, bad man.
What do you want? I'll give you a good price for what I've got left. Put it to good use.
Let's see. Now we need to go to Burwich. You know, Burwich is a name that always reminds me of Stair Whip, Stair Whip. It's somehow so stuck in my head. I don't know why, it's just there's something about it. Perhaps need more autism, but good stream. Well, the problem is, I'm not Kyle. I don't have massive amounts of autism, and I'm also somewhat competent at games, so that's kind of a downside. Like, if... There's not going to be nearly as much failure when I play as when Kyle plays, because, good god, that... I still remember the Nier Automata stream. That was fucking special, Kyle. You fucking triggered me. That was genuinely fucking painful. Redone War 3. No, fuck you. Kyle says, shut the fuck up, Bubs. No. Get good, Kyle. Stop being a fucking scrub. Thwack, thwack, thwack. Divinity Ascended. Well, Divinity is Divinity. Arch is special. So he refuses to end streams. So the streams are going to stay up for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years maybe. I'm not sure how long, but it'll stay up for a while. God. Save me. Don't let me die. Totem, bad. Wait, is that it? Now, if this is all that I'm getting from the totem, in terms of enemies, I'm gonna be kind of disappointed, but it seems like it. You know, that was so much easier than last time. Holy shit. Crappy dagger. God, that's a lot of loot. Fuck me. Ah, that's a lot of loot. Okay. See, my current belt has 17 health regen per second. That's kind of nice for my build. So I don't really want to replace that either. No, I gotta look through all the loot. Fuck. Okay, not really a whole lot of good stuff. So that's fine. What's up with Arch's Infinite stream? Well, Arch just intended, yeah. That's bad. And Kyle is also bad for not hijacking the stream. Discordia says hello. Hi, Discordia. Well, Autumn is part of his charm. Well, that's nice, but... watching him spend 30 minutes on a boss that takes me like 5 minutes, that's just... oh, God. Ugh. Help me, Kyle is dumb. Kyle, man, bad. It hurts me on an emotional level. He also starts getting really pounty. Brother Guardian Xerox says, I got into the Dawn of War 3 beta, played 3 games and decided I had better things to do. Yeah, that sounds about right. I never played Dawn of War 3. I have no intention to ever play it either. I'm perfectly okay with that decision. I think it's a reasonable decision. I think there is no downside to it whatsoever. And I'm gonna fucking stick with it. $10.12 says, I'm just gonna say hi and go to sleep. Well, hello and good night. Artisan Noblet. Hell, yell at Kyle till he does the thing. Kyle can't really do the thing. He can hijack the stream, but he can't end it. I think. I would at least imagine so, because I'm pretty sure that Kyle is not registered as a manager for Arch's channel. Bobs is correct. Yes, I am. I'm always correct. Devon Brothen wants Discordia to get in stream. Bobs is alone. Help us bully him. Discordia is not one for the bullying personality, I'm pretty sure. Chat, how much mob months for Bobs to play Dawn of War 3 and stream it? You cannot pay me to play that game. Actually, you can. Everyone has a price. But I'll still claim that you cannot do it. Aiden says it's been done now for 8 minutes. Well, I guess maybe YouTube finally ended it. Unless Arch somehow managed to reach a level of competence that is unbecoming of him. Carl says $5. The rest of chat says just about nothing except Darmedia says 350 and Devrathan says $1 million, which I either don't believe or would claim that it's not US dollars. Because I'm pretty sure there are some dollars that are worth fuck all. So unless you specify which kind of dollar that is, I will not believe you. And if you say US dollars, I will still not believe you. Zimbabwean dollars, yeah, I can believe that one. That much is fuck all. How much is $1 million Zimbabwe dollars anyway? I think the Zimbabwean dollar is the weakest. I might be wrong. Yeah. I played Dawn of War 2, but I never actually finished Dawn of War 1. I don't remember how far I got, but I remember that I didn't even finish the first campaign. It's cute, but I don't consider it to be a great RTS. I can see why people like it, absolutely. And I can certainly see the disparity between Dawn of War 1 and 2, and I certainly understand why such heavy criticism was directed at the game when 2 launched, because it's very different. But personally, I'm not that big a fan of Dawn of War. I know a lot of people are. Whack. Bernard Bachner says, Heretics, Dawn of War 1 over Dawn of War 2 Company of Heroes. I much prefer Company of Heroes 2 over Dawn of War 1. I've only ever really played Last Stand and the campaign in Dawn of War 2. So I'm not going to compare that, but I do much prefer Company of Heroes to Dawn of War 1. And Armida says I can buy an original and non-counterfeit 100 trillion Zimbabwean dollar bill for $250, but is it valid as a currency now? Because if it's not valid as a recognized currency, then you're being extremely obtuse if you're going to say that you're going to pay with that. Well, make Bubbles play Dawn of War, or I'll do it for you. Oh god. See, the worst thing is, I know that only Death has the will to follow through with that. Also, crap. What was the button to? Okay, there you go. I accidentally rotated the camera and I'm like, what's the button to rotate it back though? But we figured it out. Where go? Kinda wanna go up here. I don't know why, but I kinda wanna. There's no real reason to do so, but I kinda just want to. It's just a thing I have a need for. It's not anymore, they changed the currency. Yeah, then sure, you're technically paying that many dollars, but if it's not recognized as a currency, then you're being extremely obtuse. Yeah, we've actually been here before. We'll try to go to the unexplored area. For some reason, I have this thing where I need to explore every piece of the map wherever I go. It bothers me if I don't. So, off we'll go. We've got exploring to do. Hashtag blame Kibs, indeed. But Grim Dawn is fun. Yes, it is. I do like Grim Dawn. It's, I haven't played that many ARPGs, but it's fairly Diablo 2-esque. As far as ARPGs go. Adoma says, Kibs, you liking being a... God damn it. I'm turning into Kyle. I can't use words. I can't read. Help! Help, chat. My brain hole is failing me. What was I saying? Kibs, you liking be a viewer, don't you? So Kyle, you being like, I don't want to stream. That's why I'm going to schedule another stream today, because I'm retarded. And Kibs, make Bobs play Pokemons. I actually do have an idea for a Game Boy game lined up, actually. It's one that I enjoy fairly well. One of fantastic music. I'm not sure if I want... You know, I'm curious. The game for the Game Boy Advance, pretty good music, JRPG. I'm wondering if chat will be able to guess which one it is. The parameters aren't very specific, but I'm curious. I'm curious what you'll come up with. Captain Diabetes, play Fire Warrior again. Your suffering is enough for a quarter of Camarog to survive on for an entire week. Yeah, Kyle, you should play Fire Warrior. I heard it's a good game. Bob's supposed to be upload a video or schedule a stream. If I wake up and don't see a video schedule or stream, how am I supposed to know Bob's didn't forget considering you have in the past? I've forgotten once in the past, Kyle. Besides, you can always just ask. You can just fucking ask, Kyle. It's not that difficult. Bubs, last time you streamed, you left 2 hours early. I think that was at 3-hour mark, so that wasn't 2 hours earlier, and streams are 2 to 4 hours. It's just Kyle who can't commit to anything. Don't try to pretend that it's my fault that Kyle can't commit. Pokemon Orange. Is that even a thing? Like, I'm way out of the Pokemon games, but I haven't heard of Orange. I like the talent tree in Grim Dawn. Yeah, it's kind of nice. It's kind of also not nice. I'm mixed. Final Fantasy Tactics, no. Bob's played DF, I'm assuming Dwarf Fortress, or CDDA. Not sure about that one. Maybe one day. He should play Helltaker. Yes, he should. He very much should. Helltaker has the best waifus, therefore 11 out of 10. Ketchup says, I'd guess, but I know it already. Yes, he does. Feeling no one really wanted to guess the game. Bad chat. Bad. Oh well, time to whack a boss. There, back to reading chat. Ah, difficult builds, they truly are. Difficult to play. Only Kyle can suffer that much. Yes, he can. So you're saying hashtag blame Kibs? Always blame Kibs. But the game I was talking about was, well, 2 games in particular. I've never played the third one, but Golden Sun. Golden Sun has really nice music. And it's one of my favorite JRPGs. Particularly 2. I much prefer 2 over 1. Wow, we have 0 dropped frames! Good job, internet, you haven't exploded. I mean, this is damn. I had the first Golden Sun for GBA somewhere. Yeah. I played 1 and 2, and I do prefer the second one. It's just better in my opinion.
Oh, hello, traveler.
Blah, blah, blah. Blah. We'll find out in Grim, sure. Golden Sun is great. Yes, it is. I fucking love Golden Sun. I've played through Golden Sun many, many times. It's generally the game I would go to for the Game Boy Advance whenever like go anywhere or anything like that. I'd just be like, oh well, time to whip out the Game Boy Advance. So Golden Sun 2 or Pokemon Crystal actually, but that's a Game Boy Color game. But I'd still generally play that one. Golden Sun music is just chill. Yeah, no, it's really good music. Let's see. Quests. Yeah, quests are what the quests are. Pokemon Fire Red and Pokemon Emerald for the best GBA games. Never did play either of them. The last Pokemon game I played, not Game Boy, the Pokemon game I played, on my Game Boys were actually Crystal. I didn't play anything beyond that. Like, not too long ago, I played Ruby? I was kind of okay. But beyond that, I haven't really played them. Oh god, Bubs is a Gen 3 boomer. The fuck do you mean I'm a Gen 3 boomer? I mostly played Gen 1 and 2. 3 is something I played like a couple of years ago, and I haven't played anything after that. So no, I'm a fucking Gen 1 boomer, if anything. That's the one I put the most time in, I'm pretty sure. I think Blue is the one I put the most time in. It's also my... fuck. No, my first Game Boy game was Zelda Link's Awakening, which had fucking nothing to do with Zelda. It just had nothing to do with Zelda. Fun game, though. That's even worse, says Captain Diomedes. I think you're just a zoomer. Ah! Bane! 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 Better not die. I'm barely even paying attention to the game. Like, I've generally got the health regen to carry me through most shit. But sometimes, just the occasional time, it's just not enough. Avenger says Gen 1 is best gen. I'm not sure which one I prefer over Gen 1 and Gen 2. They both have their charms. Like, Gen 1 is the first one, so that's certainly a charm, but... What nonsense is his character build? I own this game and it looks fun. It's Oathkeeper slash soldier. I'm basically going for a retaliation build. It's just auto attack. It's literally just auto attack. It's actually a fairly good streamer build because I can just hold down left mouse button and pay a lot of attention to chat, which is kind of nice. Let's see, what else does chat have to say? We're going Platinum, I imagine, is the best in series next to Emerald. Never played that one either. Play Spec Ops Line Bobs? No, I haven't actually. It's somewhere on my... I should probably play this game at some point, but I haven't gotten around to it. I don't really care that much either. Ah, I see why I'm taking so much damage. Fucking acid damage. Acid damage is always a fucking bitch. All those Pokemon purists in here. Oh, that's what you get for being a fucking zoomer. Also, fairly sure CDDA is Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. Yeah, that would make sense. I've never played that one. Played Dwarf Fortress though. Dwarf Fortress is great. Well, it's kind of great. I just fucking wish FPS death wasn't such a goddamn thing. Like, I started a fort fairly recently in Dwarf Fortress. And just like 2 years in, I'm already down to like 60 FPS. It's fucking absurd. And I haven't done anything really bad for performance. I do have Forgotten Beast wandering around in the cavern. That's kind of a problem, but it's not... It shouldn't be that bad. Like, I only have like 110-ish dwarves. It shouldn't be that bad already. Like, I've never had it be that bad before. It's also like medium world, medium time and all that. Yeah. There. CDA is from a similar vein of autism as Dwarf Fortress. Yeah, I know what Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead is. I just haven't played it. That's the thing. Bobbles, why don't you use Aegis of Menhir? Because... lazy retaliation build. It's nice, but lazy retaliation build. Where are... where's it going? Yeah, wait. That one's nice, but I have enough of that already. Getting more health wouldn't hurt, but let's get more health if we do this. Even is nice. There's one point in that is kind of nice, I guess. Judgment is a cast, if I remember correctly. That's a taunt, yeah. Ah, I don't remember where I went with this build. Oh. Just dump raw stats. Never hurts. What's your favorite Pokemon attack? Ah. Honestly, I'd probably go something as basic as Ice Punch. It's so useful because if you pick a water starter, you can just use Ice Punch and laugh all over grass types. Stuff like that. So yeah, Ice Punch is one of my favorites because I usually take a water starter, personally. If I was born in 97, am I a millennial zoomer? Well, zoomer just like boomer is a mindset. Forgotten beasts are on the surface and below. Only in the surface. Kill the Savannah Titan that arrived. That wasn't too bad. Yeah, no. For some reason I just have this weird FPS death on my current fort. Strange. Now I get to see people complain for Bob's taking the wrong blacksmith for his build. I genuinely don't care about the blacksmith. I have both blacksmiths on character. I could just... if I want to, I could just make the items with another character anyway. If I really care to min-max that much. Carl's a brainlet. Carl's always a brainlet. Carl also stopped responding. Now, why is that, chat? Come up with your conspiracy theories. Speaking of Kibs, someone should replace his Republic Commander shortcut with the Fire Warrior one. Someone should, yeah, that's a good point. Someone really should. Carl says shush. Porky Bubs. What's wrong, Fatkins? Thought your favorite attack would be Bubbles or Bubble Beam. No. Ice Punch. Good enough and it's versatile. Fernan Bachnam says he's covered in grease by now. Carl is rather greasy, isn't he? Carl should shower. Oh my gosh, Kyle. Oh my gosh. Like, Kyle, you need to take a shower. You're too greasy. Kibs is actually an advanced AI and his batteries ran low. I don't think Kyle is any sort of an advanced AI. Thwack, thwack, thwack. Lazy build. Lazy build. Does whatever a lazy build does. Maybe I should go to that fucking dungeon. Get the hose for Kibs. Yes. It puts the soap on the grease or else it gets the hose again. Chat, do we want to go back for the crappy little dungeon? I'll leave it up to you. You can choose. Increased physical damage. Not increased retaliation damage, though. Meh. Kibs should replace his desktop wallpaper with Fire Warrior. See, that he would not be happy with. Imagine booting up your computer and seeing Fire Warrior every single fucking time. Devotion Shrine in there. In the one that requires a keep specifically. I'm not thinking about the other dungeon, the one with the... I'm not thinking about the one up there. I'm thinking about the one that requires the key, the cultist one in particular. Should probably have been more specific about that. Because I don't think there's a Devotion Shrine in there. It is XP though. XP never hurts. That one, Zalazar. Yeah, that one I think. Think that's the name? Probably. Sounds about right. Thwack, thwack, thwack. Kibs is an AI, then it must have been labeled as such as a cruel joke. Kyle, do you have anything to say in your defense? Just anything at all to say? No? Okay. Well, I guess you're right then. Well, let's try a totem. See how bad it will die here. So far, so good. So far. In you go. Advanced AI implies having intelligence, which I doubt Kibs has. Wow, that's kind of cruel. True, but cruel. See, at least Kyle has a much healthier relationship with his audience than a lot of streamers do. Because a lot of streamers and YouTubers and all that, they have this problem with the audience being extreme sycophants, which is kind of bad. Blood Carver. Wow. That's, heftily reduced damage right there. I'd like better pants, but 32 physical damage retaliation is kind of nice. Not getting a whole lot of useful stuff. Where's Fairman? Haven't seen him in a while. Did he die of old age? No. He exists. If you want Fairman, you can try tagging him on the Discord. He might start screaming at you then. Kyle says, praise me more. I don't think that's going to happen, Kyle. I do not think that's going to happen. Whack, thwack. Don't praise the Kibs. Even Discordia agrees. And she's a YouTuber. You should listen to her. She's famous. That's how this works, right? She has a number next to her name, and that means she is famous and popular, and we should all listen to them. Oh my god. Discordia, you need to get a checkmark on Twitter. That would be beautiful. Give me stuff. Where's Mace? The current build, the petition set would be nice at level 40. What was the petition set again? I don't remember. Thwack, thwack, thwack. Fairman was just in Archer's stream chat, so he's not 100% dead. Now, I talked to him earlier today as well. He's very much not dead. Did I want to go back here? I don't know. Oh yeah, I want to check the loot. The thing is, there's no loot for me to check because it's all junk. Ah yeah, level up. All hail glorious AoE. Retaliation acid set. Yeah, that does sound nice. Okay, let's see. You, what do you do? Ah, god damn it. I can't check my abilities because the goddamn zombies. I blame zombies. Zombie mean, beard means. Oh dear god. They just keep coming. Help! Help! Ah, god, my health. Yeah. I think we need to do a tactical retreat here. We will lure them a bit further back, and then we can go after them one by one, hopefully. Ish. Yeah. Liberal use of potions here. I don't think that'll hurt. Yeah, there we killed one. Reposition, so we don't get fucking swarmed. Then we go after you. I can take a serious hit, because when I drop to low health, I will heal for a fuck ton of health, but I don't wanna. Yeah, now. Crystal. Well, this build is nice for streaming. Well, sometimes I do have to put in some effort. Lol, YouTuber, occasional uploads video. That's exactly how it works. You're the big famous YouTuber. Explorer's cover. Let's see, what are options? We'll take you. The extra XP doesn't hurt. It's not a fantastic upgrade, but it's halfway decent. Pants, pants, pants. No, not really good. That's terrible. Zombies just want to be your friend. Yes, they want to be the friendliest. MJ Merlin says... I, Merlin, am boring. I have no personality. All I want to do is bait people. If thousands of girl streams taught me anything, a lot of thirsty boys. Oh yeah, there are a lot of thirsty boys. My chat only seems to want Kitty's doggo. I must be doing something wrong. Well, I mean, you're giving them something they want. I think that's kind of doing something right. It's kind of a bit about how you look at things. If they want more, then that's a good thing. Doesn't matter what they want more of. Thwack, thwack, thwack. Come on, zombies. Come on, come on. Come to me. Come to me, friends. Just look at Kibs and his Sims. Yeah, Kyle is a busty female wench, isn't he? Right, so off to Zalazar then. Off to Zalazar. Hopefully we won't die. I think we should be fine. Right, I wanted to look at this. Judgment is a taunt, so that's a no-no. But what are you? Attention. Recharge duration, damage absorption, increased damage, and retaliation. Sounds too... You know what? You know what we'll do? In order to keep this going, we'll put in a right click. Yeah. Big brain moment. That way, I can still just use my mouse. Discordia female on the internet? Impossible. Yeah, no, there are no such... God damn, it's not back here. There are no such thing as females on the internet. The early 2000s and anything before that should have told anyone that there are no females on the internet. Aerith is Kibs' persona. No. Kibs is Aerith's skin sona. That's how it works. Aerith is actually a skinny, I guess. This is part of why I dislike streaming YouTube. It ruined the no girls on the internet rule. Well, that's not at all what did it. It helped a bit, but it's not what did it. But it certainly helped kind of just bring a bunch of that kind of crap more into the mainstream. Playing MMOs, anyone would be familiar with the oh so typical raid leader who would bring this random thought that he wanted to bang just because she was female onto the raid, even though she was terrible at the game, just because he wanted to bang a female on the internet. I think everyone has that experience. No, there's no reason for you to specify your gender on the internet. If you do have a particular need to do that, then I'm sorry, but you're wrong in the head. Thwack, thwack, thwack. Gordia says, lol, didn't happen to me, I was the raid leader. Were you every single raid leader, though? Because I've been in a lot of different raids. I've been with a lot of different raid leaders, and I've met some people. It's even funnier when you get like two women who really don't like each other and just start the most ridiculous petty drama ever. I didn't get a key, did I? No. No, well. No key for me. Sad times. Bubs, you're making me take sanity damage before the members here. Stop. No. No. Only intellectuals can appreciate women for their personality or intellect. Look. Women should be appreciated for the sole fact that they're female. Isn't that right, chat? If many people have taught me anything, it's that women have nothing to contribute other than being female. Oh, God. There are some people who believe that. That's the worst part. Did make me turn raid leader just to avoid it. The thing is, I've been here and then. I've raid led many times. I've owned a guild and all that, and well, it's not every time you can raid lead. What was the worst raid you've been in? I don't remember anything particularly specific. I do remember a rather funny story though. I have a friend who's Dutch. And I met him like way back when. I met him in Wrath of the Lich King. And one time, when we were doing Vault of Arcavon, someone called him a virgin, and he said to all of chat that he was in fact a virgin, and said, "Is there anything wrong with that?" Oh god, that was like back in like 50 years ago, when you could actually insult people on the internet. Yes, absolute mad lad indeed. Like, I don't know why, it's not really like an extreme thing, but I just find anyone a virgin wins. And I'll be clipped by the crazies when he was big one day. Yeah, that's nice. I don't care about the crazies. And then my first guild I raid led for kicked me out because I kicked the guildmaster's GF out of the raid because she was trash. Ha! Fucking well deserved. Like, the worst part is when there's like one thing is a casual guild that's doing some casual raiding. That's fine if you have like some members that aren't as good. But when it's like you're actually trying to do serious raiding and then like someone high up's girlfriend is there just because she's the girlfriend and she's horrible and just terrible DPS and all that. It's nah, fuck off. You don't belong there. Anyways, with Pugs, lol, I think developing that. I've played some rather unsuccessful Pugs too, but yeah, there's only so much you can do with randoms. But I have a fantastic anecdote for why the people aren't quite as important as one would think. So reading chat to see if there's anything I should look at first. Pee on them should do dominance. Yeah, pee on them. Pee on chat. Though I had some funny ass hell raids when I joined a level guild and they asked me to take them through the raids after seeing raiding kill lol. We're all virgins here. Yes, we are. Every single one of us. Wait, are those dropped frames? Gasp, those were dropped frames. Heresy. Had to remove someone's mother from her raid once. Yeah, so, on to the anecdote of raid leading. So, I had an ex once who played World of Warcraft. This was back in Cataclysm. And she was in a guild that was bad, but they still tried doing raiding. This was back during Firelands, when Firelands was current content. Now, it was a rather terrible guild. They could do, what, 2 bosses on a good week? Like, I think they raided 2 or 3 times a week, and they could do 2 bosses on a good week. On normal. That should tell you how bad they were. Like, their priest healer would spam flash heal instead of heal or greater heal because it's faster. And then halfway through a fight, I'm out of mana. So yeah, that was a good time. But once I decided to raid lead for them. I decided to drag them through Firelands because, well, I didn't have a raid that day because their raids would often coincide with my raids. And I was, of course, doing hard mode. Epic chest armor for a gunslinger, but for her, let's see, what do I have? Requirement 3 fighting 4. That's not good. Yeah, so they were absolutely horrendous. Yeah, so they'd usually just do the fucking spider boss, and that was it. That was usually it. If they were lucky, they'd do one more. I don't remember which one. So I decided to raid lead. One day, I think. One day, I managed to drag those fucking terrible people through Firelands. I never fucking explained tactics to them. Or, well, I rarely explain tactics. I explain them in the most briefest of things. I would instead sit there and micromanage what they would do as I was being the main tank for the raid. And I managed to get them all the way up to Ragnaros. While they could barely get 2 bosses done on their own. And these are terrible people, for the most part. So, like, personal skill has something to do with it, but raid leading is kinda underrated. Oh, kinda normal? Jesus Christ, yes. Who needs mana? Well, the priest certainly did when she would complain about having no mana halfway through the fight. No, we're not having any more drop frames. It's fine. Love's the hero we need, but don't deserve. Well, who they need. You know, the best part is they were gonna try Ragnaros. And then they decided to not bring my ex in that time, despite her being their best healer, and the only reason why they could only go there, because she was the only reason why I decided to lead that raid to begin with. Don't punish your PC before the mechanic kicks your door in. Don't worry, it's just a thing that happens sometimes. Gold star bubs, but why? That must have been an effort. Honestly, 5 rounds is so easy. Micromanaging that wasn't really that difficult. Like, I can flat out tell you, I specifically remember that during, what the fuck is his name? Major Domo F something? The boss before Ragnaros? I didn't even tell them anything about the tactics. I just said, well, I vaguely said that the boss will do that and that. I'll tell you what to do. And then I sat there, telling them what to do when they needed to do it. Because I couldn't be fucked to explain tactics that they wouldn't even follow. It's much easier to just sit there and tell them, you move out now. And it worked. Captain Diomedes is a simp. Oh, I didn't know that doing things with your girlfriend was being a simp. Glow in the Dark says Bubs. Glow in the Dark. You also need the chance of percussive repairs. Whack whack, says the computer. In the FFG RPG Dark Ages, the tech priest has technical knock. It's not just the tech priest that has technical knock, but yeah, you basically just smack a gun and there, it's unjammed. To be honest, teaching the PvP guild the raids was actually quite fun. They were not very good at first, but they were funny as hell trying to do it. They did get it though. Yeah, no, it was like, people are getting it. Like, if you're casual about raiding and you're not trying to do any serious progression, it's not that bad. Well, I admit I don't know counter raiding. I quit in Wrath of Lich King. I heard it got very easy. Some parts were easy. Normal was fairly easy. Thing is, they separated normal and oh, they did that in Wrath of Lich King actually. Yeah, they continued that separation. So normal was fairly easy, and heroic was the hard one. Well, it does work with an MP5. It works with surprising amount of guns sometimes. It depends a bit on what the error is. I remember Therm or whatever. Oh god, what was the name? It was something with T1, TH, THG. Therm, something. The one, yeah, I do know the boss you're talking about. The one that had the positive and negative charge, and if you mix the charges, people start taking damage. And somehow, almost times, like, they were good enough to get to, like, 11 out of 12 in ICC. Like, I wasn't hardcore rating back then, but they were okay. Like, getting ICC wasn't that hard, but yeah, we got to 11 out of 12. So, yeah. What's I gonna say? Yeah, that same guild. I remember doing the safety dance achievement, which was for no one to take any, for no one to die during High and the Unclean. I remember that half the raid had to sit outside of the encounter. That was special. At least I did get my Undying achievement. Fucking drop frames. Either way. Oh well. They're a thing with bub streaming. Consider it a part of the experience. This is the beauty you're gonna get when I stream. It's just a thing. I could drop my bitrate, but that would mean a lower quality stream. So, sure, there would be less dropped frames overall, but it might not even be that. It might be some slight instabilities. Might be other people just using the internet as well, even though there shouldn't be anyone awake at this point. But either way, yeah, it's just a thing that'll happen now and then. Thwack, thwack, thwack. PvP guilds are often more coordinated than PvE ones in my experience. I've found them to be about on par. Depends a bit on what kind of guild you're going for. If you're going for a serious PvP guild or a serious PvE guild, I find the PvE guild to be more like they're going to be better at their respective fields, but they're generally about equal in my experience, as long as you're going by an equal level of competence in terms of content they're going for. Thwack, thwack, thwack. Ankle sir, hi Bubs, nice to see you stream this. I had fun with this game. It is a fun game. It is a fun game indeed. Hardcore raiding was fun, but why not taking a lot of time since they wanted to raid daily? My guild wasn't like super hardcore or anything, so we raided 2 or 3 times a week, I don't remember, for a few hours. Doing it every day, that's just retarded. Why would anyone ever want to? Like, that's way too much. Ah, yes, we did the same for that achievement. We made them sit outside the gate. Yeah, it's like, it bothers me because, like, if you can't even do that, if you can't move when you need to, why the hell are you trying to do any serious raiding? It's like, please, guys, it's not that hard. You just need to not be terrible. ICC was the raid that broke me on many levels. It made me quit WoW. Not the difficulty, we cleared, I think, top 15 or 20 heroic, but the narrative made me hate WoW. Yeah, like, the part in the end was fucking bullshit. The raid was fine. Like, mechanically, the raid was fine. It was a bit samey in terms of the environments, but the raid was fine. But that one part with the Lich King boss fight was just bullshit. It's like, ah, yes, ICV is GMing this game. Not to throw too much shit at V, but like it had that same idea that, like, slight criticism at V here. V said that he wanted to do a boss fight a bit like how they do it in many games where they bring in like an NPC to help you. The thing is, people hate that. V, you should have known better. I still like Ulduar better than ICC. They have their ups and downs, but Ulduar was generally a bit more fun. In terms, it had more environments, it had a much harder boss fight and all that. And the fact that, like, I get why they separated heroic and normal the way they did, but the optional hard modes functioning that way were kind of fun. It was a nice mechanic, but it does require more work. I totally see why. There's several reasons why they went the way they did. And that's kind of... I did kind of like it. It's very nice. Yeah, I mean, like optional, like, objective to make the boss fight harder. That is a nice little touch. It doesn't have the same charm to it when you just right-click your portrait and change to heroic mode. I like the dynamic difficulty in Ulda. You can choose to make the fight hard, yes. The optional hard mode things to do were fun. Like, yeah, like when people press the fucking button with Mimir. Like, oh god, what have you done? You've doomed us all. Or when someone would pull Freya, was it? Without killing the trees. It's like, oh god, no, we're gonna die. Did it drop frames again? Let me check. Might have. It might have. The whole soul and vehicle opening play was so much fun. I have mixed feelings about the vehicle part. Well, okay. I was stunned. I had nothing I could do there. Okay. We should level up a couple times before we do that. That one has always been kind of a bitch. No, I wasn't stunned. Oh god, I forget that every goddamn time. So when I tab out, it hits Alt and it doesn't unmark Alt because Alt, I can't select anything when I hit Alt. That was the problem. But that one still fucking hits like a truck. That one's hard to do as a melee. Button rushes were fun, once. Well, they were funny. Once. You can't put me next to a button and ask me not to press it. That is cruel. No, what's cruel is pressing the button. That is cruel. Leviathan was fun a couple of times, and I don't know. The gimmick was nice, but I didn't really enjoy it for long. Bubs, that's why I have a backup gun in this game. I could just level up a couple of times. Could come back later. Bob's reminisces about World of Warcraft. Yes, basically. My favorite class by far was the Hunter, says Mithrin. You do strike me as the Hunter type. Goddamn Night Elf Hunters. Never party with a fucking Night Elf Hunter. The scum of the earth. See, I played Horde. So if I want to play a Hunter, I had to play a Blood Elf or an Orc. Or a Troll. But depending a bit on when. Before the racial change, Troll easily. After, Orc or Blood Elf. Ooh. That's upgrades. Fuck. I. That's the right button. I is the right button. I'm not gonna need you. You're level 22. And we'll keep you around. Scordia says, the Doom is wild sometimes, but I know if I went back now, I would just be disappointed. Probably better to just remember the good times. Yeah, no. WoW now is not the same. Besides, Blizzard is a shit company anyway. Sorry, Activision. Activision Blizzard. Whatever the fuck you want to name it. It's fucking terrible anyway. They ain't get nothing from me. Carl says, mine was Death Knight. Just like Necromancer Undead classes. Cool and spoopy derpy. Fucking Death Knights. It may as well be Welsh to me, since I know so little about it. There are others says, Bubs, WoW is boring, stop talking about it. See, the game might be boring, particularly now. It might be terrible now. The thing is, like, WoW is one of those games that a lot of people play and a lot of people have fond memories of. Like, a lot of people, actually. Is it not fun to like the edgy drow rogue of D&D? Kinda. There are parallels. Brother Guardian Xerox says I liked Warlock. Discordia says I like my Paladin tank. Paladin tank was great. And Veggie says, since someone invoked it, I must respond for the Alliance. Wow, it's real bad now. Oh, yes. Bad game, bad. Fucking goddamn drop frames. Stop it. Fucking drop frames. I hate you. I had some fun moments. It did. It was genuinely enjoyable. Once upon a time. Probably enable you. The characters I played in WoW as my main went from Paladin in Burning Crusade, back when I had no idea what I was doing. Then I got good in Wrath, so I started playing a priest because we needed a healer, I think. And I just... No, oh god, what was the reason? I was playing a Paladin in the first half, and then the second half I changed to priest. I don't know why. It was something to do with healer. I don't know why I ended up changing to priest. I don't actually know specifically why. I don't remember. But I did change to priest. Fucking loved Shadow, and I love Discipline. Discipline in Wrath of the Lich King was the best thing ever. All you would do is just spam Power Will Shield on the raid. I'd switch to my level 60 stuff and just be like, ha! I'm topping the healing charts! With my level 60 weapon at level 80. Because fuck you. It was the best. I played Priest through Cataclysm. Then I quit at Mr. Pandaria. I came back a bit in Warlords, where I made a Death Knight on another server. Played that. Then I played a Priest in Legion. Nothing after that. Nothing after that. Yeah, generally people prefer Wrath of the Lich King, and I do know why. Ulduar was great fun. ICC was a pretty good raid, all in all. It got rid of a lot of the jank that Burning Crusade had. Burning Crusade had a lot of fun stuff despite the jank, but it did have some serious jank going for it. Bubs with his bubbles. Yes, bubbles were great. Bubbles were the best. Discipline was particularly fun in Cataclysm, back when you could just DPS and heal and still be like the best healer. It was like, ah, yes. I do as much DPS as the lowest DPS in the raid, and I pair the top healing with the next healer. It's like, ah, yes. I am God! On today's episode, the bunch reminisces about the good old times, which were way worse than today. Well, that's just flat out incorrect. WoW then was far better than WoW now. Oh, when Pandaria was current, the monk was an army of one kind of character. Not really. Monk was pretty crap for a lot of Pandaria. Well, the Lich King narrative did kill it for me, but I can't fault the mechanical side. Still a bit biased toward BC because it was slightly better for Pallies. You know what was better for Pallies? The, Wrath of the Lich King pre-patch in Burning Crusade. That was god tier for Paladins. Let's look at my quest. Confront, return. Find the apprentice. Okay, we can just continue. Why is it always that whenever people start talking about WoW, the tone is always how people talk of an Empire's death throes? Because that's kind of what WoW has been ever since Wrath of the Lich King. Been going steadily downhill ever since then. I mean, it says all multiplayer games are bad in my opinion. Avoid people in real life, so why would you want to meet them in my escapism? See, that's just your opinion. A lot of people enjoy multiplayer games. I generally avoid people in real life, but I have nothing against people I know in online games. Playing with randoms I generally avoid, though, to some degree. Besides, a lot of MMOs you can easily play single player without too much issue. It's not gonna be the best experience, but you can still do it. Yes, the Wrath of the Lich King pre-patch was just god tier for Paladin. You just Spectre Retribution and pressed Divine Storm and spin to win. I remember back then I had terrible gear on my Paladin, and so I didn't really raid then. Like, most of my raiding I did was like Karazhan and Gruul and some tier 5 stuff. Like the fairly simple stuff for the most part. And once, like, during the pre-patch, a mage in season, was it 3, 4 gear? Whatever was current at then, like whatever was the best gear then for PvP gear. They tried to kill me in PvP and I fucking floored him because Retribution was just so OP then. Where are we going? Oh yeah, there we go. Portal 2 co-op. Well, you're gonna have to ask Kyle. I'm entirely on board for Portal 2 co-op. Kyle is the one who fucking hates puzzle games, so you're gonna have to convince him. If you can convince him, then you might see it one day. We do have quite a few things lined up, and Kyle just keeps throwing on more and more console exclusives onto the pile for some reason. Don't know why, but hey, he's free to do him. Yeah, you convince him, and you might see it one day. Okay, this is the one where we do not want to stand in the water, I think. Let's see. Discordia says Portal 2 ain't bad. Well, Kyle just doesn't like puzzle games. I personally don't mind puzzle games, but Kyle does. I would rather not die here, game. Brr, 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 brr. Actually, if I stand here, I can kind of funnel them. Ah! My health. My poison pools. Okay, we're good, we're good. Right, so. Did we kill the boss? I'm not sure. Not sure. God damn it. Do you have to stand there and range me? Oh, that's why Kibs hates the demon wife in Suits game. Yeah, that's kind of the reason why he doesn't like it. He's said it a billion times that he doesn't like puzzle games. So I think you'd actually be kind of hard-pressed to not know it at this point. And here's the boss. Ow. Boss hurt, boss hurt, boss hurt. Got a kite boss, got a kite boss.
Can't do that yet.
Yeah. Okay, well. Now, hopefully I won't get fucking murdered when it's just me and the boss. Hopefully. Aha! I'm not liking that. Okay, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here. Fight me, bro. Fight me, fight me! 1v1 me and Rust or something. Thwack, thwack, thwack. Oh. Eat. Oh. Bait. Yeah, thankfully I have a rather tanky build, so I can stand there and face tank a lot of the damage, just not all of it. Okay, let's see. Gun, a ring. Sure, why not? A mace, a rare shield. No. A crossbow. Now, a ring is level 22, so we can't equip it yet. Next level, though. Backstabbing only if you're semi-decent at puzzles. Oh boy. Yeah, Portal 2 backstabbing is special. Let's see. But what does they hate more? Puzzle games or card games? Card games, I'm pretty sure. Robin Perkins says, oh, I remember this boss and it's bullet hell. Glad it's still a potion sink. Oh, yes, it is. I could have been more on the bullet hell side and try to avoid it actively more than that, but I mean, with a Oathkeeper / soldier build, I can stand it and face tank to some degree. So I'm just gonna do that. But why does he hate card games? As for the specifics, you probably have to ask him, but I imagine it's probably because there's not a whole lot of, like, gameplay elements to it. Because puzzle games are the card games are kind of like puzzle games in that sense. It's very often just boils down to being rock, paper, scissors. That's what I'd assume, at least, but you really have to ask him. Now, one thing I should probably have done. See, if you want me to see the thing, like, I can usually see it if you tag the Bickering Bunch. But I'm not viewing chat with the Bickering Bunch through the Bickering Bunch account. I'm seeing it through my YouTube account. So if you really want me, like, if you really want me to see the highlight, you have to tag Ubrel, not the Bickering Bunch, by the way. Just so you're aware. I just remembered. He'd complain the entire time and whine. Yes, he would if he was forced to play a fucking puzzle card game. Brother Guardian says, at Ubril, do we even know how to spell that? Well, you managed to do it successfully. Video games that mix deck building with other game types are cancelled. It does depend a bit. Like, War Game Red Dragon and those games, you're deck building, but it's not really a card game. Like, you have your quote-unquote cards? It's like, but it's not really a card game still. But it does have deck building. I don't personally mind it. Avenger says, I can understand Gwent. I can see the appeal, the complexity, and simplicity. Hearthstone, that's just pure RNG and pay to win. Yeah, I fucking despise Hearthstone. Same. Like, I could play Magic the Gathering with friends. Most of the fun is really just building a derpy deck. That's most of the fun in it, in my opinion. But with a friend playing it like that, but playing it online, it's just meh. Big fucking meh right there. Playing with randoms, big fucking meh as well. But Gwent, in the Witcher 3, I kind of like Gwent because it's a simplistic little thing that you can almost kind of break. Like, you reach a point where losing in Gwent becomes difficult. That's the point where it's fun. When they're just shoving down, just spies everywhere. I don't enjoy it for this particular gameplay, I enjoy it for the autism. But I do like Gwent to some degree. I don't really like card games a whole lot. But Gwent is one I can tolerate. I love Spaghetti says, yeah, I play MTG with a couple of friends. Making derpy thematic decks is half the fun. We don't really care that much for the meta, exactly. Like, I once made, with the handful of cards I had available, a derpy little werewolf deck that didn't really work well as a functional deck, but it was still cute and kind of fun. Wargame has no reason to call the reinforcement system a deck as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I completely agree. It's deck building in a very vague sense. It's technically deck building, but there's no fucking card play for that. You're not using a deck. You're just putting, like, you're just calling up the numbers essentially for units you have available. I would imagine it's part of the quote-unquote war game name, that having some connection to the sort of tabletop system kind of legitimizes them in that regard. That's what I would imagine, at least. I mean, it says card games are boring. Doom 2016 is what I want. I still need to get around to playing Doom 2016 at some point. I actually haven't played it, ever. Might as well call you generals in Total War decks. Yeah, you might as well at that point. I completely agree. I completely agree. Desert Hamster says, this is a good game. Not enough racism. Doubt. Brutal Doom is where it's at. Brutal Doom is special. I challenge anyone who will say that Kyle tried to tell me that Doom holds up to this day unmodded. He tried to tell me that. So, in order to prove him wrong, I went and played Doom, as you'd find it, unmodded. That means your mouse aim is locked to being horizontal. Actually, did it have mouse aim to begin with? I don't remember. Either way, it just had. It didn't have the free look. It just had the horizontal one. It's like no, it doesn't fucking hold up. You need to fuck with that. You need to fix it. Doom Unmodded is borderline unplayable. Exactly. Discordia says bedtime for me. Have a good rest of stream. Good night, Discordia. Patricia also Age Doom is the best. Age Doom, I've seen. See, I could say something and chat would be like, you monster, and I will say it. The only Doom game I've ever played was the first original Doom unmodded, just to prove Kyle wrong that Doom does not hold up unmodded. That's the only time I've ever played a Doom game before. And there are some things that make me never want to ever play a Doom game. It's kind of like with Fallout. I never played a Fallout game before either. And it's like, I kind of want to be able to say that I had never played a Fallout game. It surprises a lot of people when I say that. Fallout New Vegas is my favorite game of all time. I've had such great time in it. Probably wouldn't be my favorite game. From what I've seen of it. But I can't say for certain. Hey, have you guys seen the 40k version of Vermintide that the same devs are working on? Seen the trailer, yes. Did they show any gameplay? No. So there's not much to say. Did you play Super Turbo Turkey Puncher? No. Never. It surprised a lot of people when I say Metal Gear Solid 5 is a good game too. I've also never played a Metal Gear Solid game. Then again, I'm also not a console scrub. Purchase for all we know. Chaos at work right there. I mean, technically, but it's highly unlikely. The company is likely to stick with the model they've been going for thus far. Doing anything else would be weird at best. But they haven't really shown anything, but like this heavy implication that it's like a usual 4-player game. The thing is, I hate what they did to Vermintide 2, like a lot of things. I don't know exactly what they did lately, but I've heard a lot of people give them some serious hate for it. And from the little I've heard, it sounds legitimate, but I hate their obsessive need of balancing. They've removed a lot of the fun from the game. Like, Sienna used to be a lot of fun in Vermintide 2, but now she's just not fun in my opinion. They broke it. They ruined it. Like, I used to play Sienna for the most part, but last time I played, it's just not fun. Like, it's just an obsession with balance. Like, who gives a shit about balance? I want to play games for fun, not to be balanced. It's not even a competitive game, so why the fuck are you so obsessed with balance to begin with? I just don't get it. It's like, it's actively harming the game in my opinion. The model with tons of in-app purchases and segregated playbase from Vermintide 2. Yeah, that's the part I don't really know too much about. Balance is PvP, not PvE, exactly. Thwack, thwack. See, the downside is, I know that I can die if I'm not paying attention. But I spend a lot of time looking at chat, because I know that I have a fairly tanky build. But dying would suck. I'd understand balance if they gave us the promised versus mode, which they never did. See, personally, I don't care about the versus mode, and if they had balance for that, then that would just make the game worse, in my opinion. Because I personally don't care about the versus mode, like, at all. So that would just be an actual detriment to me. Personally, I understand why some people want the mode, but I would personally not use it. I don't care for that kind of mode. Kyle says, Vermintide 1 lobby cozy though, Vermintide 2 lobby hollow a bit. Yeah, Vermintide 2's lobby is awful. There's a lot of jumping to be had, but it's so dreary. Like, you can explore a lot of it. That part's nice, but it's just so fucking dreary. It's so sad that nobody wants to play Space Hulk anymore. Deathwing, I'd assume? That would be the reasonable one, I would suppose. Personally, never played it. Have it. We're supposed to stream it at some point. But I never played it. From what I saw, it didn't really look all that good. Actually, let's just kill this guy. Well, he dead. Murder hobo, murder hobo. He gives us XP. I'm being Sargoy now. And Ketchup says he liked the tavern more. I think most people like the tavern more. The tavern was cozy. It had some nice stuff to it. Brother Guardian Zirax says, Kyle, play Portal 2 co-op, Kyle. Right, I'm supposed to go to the other side here. Naughty Dog would make Blueberries the good guys and Imperium the zenith of evil. Probably. Yeah. I mean, giving the 40k license to Naughty Dog would be funny. Good God, would it be a fucking terrible thing. I wish people would understand the difference between shoehorning in contemporary politics and having political themes in your game. No, that kind of nuance is too advanced for most people, it seems. It's kind of impressive. I should probably see if my XP is still in that cave with the boss. Now that I think about it. You mean Ketchup, and funny thing is, that's the only part of the game my old laptop could handle. It couldn't handle the game, but the tavern part was fine for some reason. Likely because the maps were far more open, and the tavern was a small, confined area. I mean, if you put Neil in charge, he would have Sister Battle dome the Emperor with a golf club. You know what? I'd kind of want to see that. It would be funny. Like a lot of people, I don't really care much for 40k. So, watching it go downhill would kind of just be funny to me. I can certainly see why some people wouldn't appreciate that. I can. I very much can. But me personally, I like seeing things explode. It's funny to me. Blade dances handguards. Isn't that a rogue thing? Epic heavy gloves. Increase physical damage. Revenge. Sure, why not? We'll equip you in a couple of levels, if we remember. There's a chance we'll forget. Big chance. Big boy chance. I have a blip on Discord that I kind of want to check. It's bothering me, but I don't really want to tab out of the game or anything to check that. I mean, it says, I've seen Star Trek and Doctor Who died. I don't want to see 40k die. See, I consider myself to be somewhat in the nihilist camp, so I don't necessarily mind seeing everything crash and burn. Because I know that these big franchises are all heading that direction anyway. So, I don't really mind seeing them go whoosh in a glorious blaze of E-drama. And I say this as someone who is actually GMing a 40k RPG. Mithrin says, you don't have to have them do that. It already went down from the primaries, but it began before that back in 2009 with old retcons. 40k has been retconning ever since like the 90s at least. You're kind of better, but you're kind of high level. We'll see what happens. We're not doing a 200 axe because we're doing a retaliation build. Nightingale Media asks, what is this game, Bubbles? The game is Grim Dawn. It is an ARPG developed by some people whose name I sadly don't remember. But it's fun. It's fun. I do enjoy it. It's also remarkably easy to read chat while playing this, particularly with this build. I may want to keep an eye going here because there's a sheer amount of fire. That's why we pay attention. Thankfully, the game has an audio cue for when your health is low, so if I hear the dun 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 popping in, I know that I time to hit the heal button. Them guys that made Titan Quest, that would kind of explain it, actually. I need to get better legs. At that point, better to go out with a bang than a whimper. Yeah, exactly. Just go out with the biggest glaze of glory you've ever seen. Glaze of glory, not glory. Bob's confirmed for Wicked Too Cool for School Nihilist. Absolutely. I am the edgy boy. I bring my trilby to school every day, and I tell people that God ain't real. It's not a it's not a fedora, it's a trilby. I don't even know what the fuck the difference is. They both look like fedoras to me. Games Workshop wanted to copyright trademark everything about game or lore, destroying parts of it. That part is just fucking retarded. It's thoroughly scummy. Let's squeeze in a bit more for health. Make us somewhat more tanky. Tankiness is nice in us. Nightingale says, oh, wow, yeah, this is going on a list. I hope it's a good list. Because, yeah, this game is fun. I do kind of like the class system because you... At second level, you can choose a class. My health. And at 10th level, you can choose a second class. Let me out! Let me out! I don't want to die. That was way too close. Yeah, you can choose 2 classes in this game. There are a few classes you can mix and match. For instance, I've chosen Soldier and Oathkeeper, so you can mix and match between those 2 classes. One downside is that it's kind of easy to make a kind of bad build. But there are tools that allow for... There are third-party tools that allow for... pure respecing, like just allow you to redo everything about your character. Robin Perkins realized his mistake as he yells, why I haven't taken Cadence? That's because I'm using Righteous Fervor instead. God fucking damn it. Damage clouds. Go away. I don't like to stand in fire. I played enough MMOs to know not to stand in fire. Stop trying to make me stand in fire. That is also a bit high level. Gotta get the Dominator. Yeah, Dominator gone. This being like 4 levels above me is really not helping me. Look at the fact that I keep spawning goddamn zombies. Okay. That's finally dead. Jesus Christ. I am really bad at using the ability of bound to right click though. I will admit that. Thwack, thwack, thwack. Oof. That was close to death. The new 4K models are nice. Like, they look good. Some of the Primaris models are really good looking. But yeah, the lore is pretty bad. Bubs needed MMOs to learn not to stand in fire. No, I didn't. But I played MMOs enough to very much know not to stand in fire, yeah. Played enough MMOs to not stand in fire. User when clearly never raid leader. People are always in the fire. I've been raid leader a lot of times, so I know that people have a magneticism to fire. I'm very familiar with that. Forgetting to use ability. Starting to play like Kibs. No. I'm sometimes forgetting to use it. Not all the time. Actually, Carl doesn't even forget to use it. He refuses to use it. There's the difference. Yeah, I will very much agree that some of the bottles do not look like they belong in the 40k universe. Thwack, thwack, thwack. Yeah, some of them do look good, at least very technically good. Some of them look good for the 40k universe. And some of them just look like they don't belong. To be fair, if you go back to like old 40k, a lot of the stuff, like a lot of the pre-primary stuff also looks like it doesn't belong in the 40k, so like the early 40k, like 90s, 80s, that kind of stuff. Like, the aesthetics are very different. Why are 40k models still so expensive? 35 euros for Lieutenant in Phobos armor. What the fuck? Because they want your money. And they know that people will pay obscene amounts for their models. Diomedes says, I want more tech priests, not space marines. Well, the thing is, space marines are the majority of their sales, for better or for worse. So, of course, they're going to focus on that. Okay, gonna ditch you. And are you any better? Increased health, increased defense capability. Not really much. It's kind of on par. Yeah, they seem to. I'm not sure how to put it. I guess they feel flat and too clean, I would have to say. They are very clean, yeah. You can, of course, paint them a bit dirtier. But just the way the models are, they look too modern sci-fi. And not like sci-fi in a universe where the fucking AK-47 is still widely used. Thwack. God damn it. Trying to read Shadowfox Super Chat, but I want to stop someone to do that. God damn it. Oh, fuck it, I can stand there and tank it anyway. That's because in the early 2000s, many of the original artist models left Games Workshop. Yeah, kinda. Oh, for the love of God. I can't stand there and tank that. God damn it, game. Just let me fucking get to the goddamn... Nah. Right, Shadowfox donates $5 and says, well, today's D&D session is off to a great start. Our ship sunk and 2 of our 4-man parties is drowning. Insert everything is okay while on fire meme. You know what? For a lot of RPs, for a lot of RP sessions, that sounds fine. That sounds perfectly fine. I've experienced worse. Trust me. That's fine-ish. Fine-ish. But yeah, thank you for the donation. Nightingale says, ooh, that's an interesting inventory system. This one is different, but it's basically the same system as Diablo used. And I'm pretty sure many other games have used that. I know for a fact many other games have used that. It's basically Tetris. It's just you have a secondary inventory which can have up to several bags, which is kind of nice. It gives you more bag space. Because bag space is kind of a premium. That's kind of nice. Avengers says correct, but not a guarantee on the topic of Space Marines selling more. For example, back in 3rd edition, Chaos and Marines sold about an equal share, but Chaos only got shadowed constantly. Marines got more and more attention. Now Marines sell much better. It would take major refocus for anything else to sell better, but as it stands now, Marines are just going to get all the love all the time. And that's just how it's going to be. You know, I should probably get the entire Guardsman set. I should see what I have. I do know I have some of the Guardian set in my inventory. Ketchup says, I do like the tech-based look of amalgamation of man and machine, kind of body horror as well. Out of the Imperium factions, the AdMech are my favorite, personally. Wait for Games Workshop to rename Sword and Armor so they can trademark it. Don't worry, they'll only be using Warhammers from now on. Trademark, copyright. Adobe says, Kibs, read the chat. Blame Kyle for not reading the chat. Robin Perkins says, 2 Shadowfox, at least the ocean is on fire. I mean, that's true. Shadowfox says, lol, what's better is our party's 1 elf, 2 half-elves, and 1 half-orc. Now that's diversity. That's a lot of not humans. Is it D&D 5e or what are you playing? Tell me. Tell me now, I must know. Shoulders of the Gardens would be amazing for the failsafe. I mean, the set in general would be pretty good for me, I'm pretty sure. Increase physical damage, reduce stun duration, that's pretty nice. Physical, and plus 2 skills in Old Soldier. Now, I'm not going to get that, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I have everything I need, but I have most. Forge World is worse than Vanilla Games Workshop. The prices, oh god, the price for all of those. I could never see myself spending that much money on fucking models. But that's me. Guess I'm just greedy, or something. There you go, we're back. Stop dropping frames. 5e is a Shadowfox. That's sad though. 5e bad. Why you play 5e? Actually, tell me why 5e. I need to know. That's the button I wanted to press. Yeah, let's see what we have in here. Because I do think I have some of the garment stuff laying around somewhere here. Here's the helmet. Really? More dropped frames? Fucking hell. $300 for the fucking Titan. Oh yes, oh god. Nightingale says, I'm doing 5e tomorrow. It's buy by 40k and the players are investigating a Lisbon planet looking for a crazy undead Nazi scientist. I mean, there are 40k RPG systems, you know. That's also not 5e. I just don't get why 5e is so popular. Like, it's so simplistic, there's no... Like, all the characters just start feeling the same. I just really don't like 5e. It bothers me so much. Oh my god, frames. Actually, what the fuck? Frames bad. Frames bad. A Titan trademarked. Oh god, I wouldn't even be surprised. You can no longer sell tan ties. Thus, trademark. Alright. Actually, I had to kill him. Everyone's perfectly okay with this. Oh, for the KRPG systems, but 5e is great for playing when half of your players are drinking whilst playing. I mean, I suppose, but there are better systems for that too. V says 5e is good for player power fantasy but terrible for storytelling. Well, no, 5e is bad for power fantasy because... Ugh. 5e is like the norm. It's like the normie garbage where it's like, I want a tabletop RPG, but I don't really wanna play any game or anything. I just wanna sit here and do nothing. Like, I want my character to level up for me. Yeah, if you want Power Fantasy, you go 3.5 or Pathfinder, or you go something like Mutants and Masterminds or something like that. There's a better systems for it. Like, 5e just sits in like... There's so little to it, it has no personality, everything is samey. It's just like, 5e has escaped the curse of the grapple rules. I mean, personally as a GM, I just... You can always simplify the grapple rules. I think the grapple rules aren't necessarily that complex either. Bob, so which D&D edition do you recommend for a beginner? Because I always hear 5e or Pathfinder is best for that. For a beginner, I'd recommend Pathfinder, first edition, or I'd recommend D&D 3.5 or Advanced D&D 2e. I do not recommend 5e. It's not a good system. It's so bland, it's so bare bones, it has no personality, it's just nothing. I think I wanted to do something here. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to do. The Guardsman set. Let's see if I can craft any more of that. Might be a bit too expensive for what I want. Actually, that's pretty cheap. Okay, what are we missing? We're missing hammer and shield. Let's see what we have, is the question. I'm not sure if I have... Do have that? That of course is imbued silver, which I might have the stuff for. That we do. Then we get us a shield. And then there's a weapon. Do I have the weapon is the question. Omen, Tremor. I don't have the weapon. That's sad. Ah, shame. I wish I had the entire set. Yeah, that's what I like about it. It's a blank canvas. Well, the thing is, there are far better systems for blank canvas type RP. The good thing in 5e is that there are no real bad choices. Yeah, because you don't get any choices. That's the problem with 5e. You don't have a choice to begin with. That's why I fucking hate it so much. It's like, I look at, like, I try to help Kyle leveling up his character, but I'm always like, well, you just add your proficiency bonus. There's nothing else. There's no choice to be made. You just add a +1 sometimes to your proficiency bonus, and that's it. But as for, like, entirely story-driven games, there are far better systems for that, too. I don't remember the names of them. There are far better systems for it. We no go in here. No go cellar. Go village. Yeah, you only have a choice at level 3. Exactly. It's like, that's fucking tragic. It's terrible. It's pathetic. Yeah, like for the D20 systems, I'd recommend AD&D 2E, 3.5 or Pathfinder. First edition. I do not recommend 5e. It's so bland, it's so sterile, it's so flavorless. It has so little going for it. AD&D will break some people with how harsh it can be. Oh yeah, like AD&D is hard, but the thing is, you go with what you want. You really go with what you want. Like, if you want a harsh campaign, you take something like a D&D 2e, or you can go something like Call of Cthulhu if you want that. It depends a lot on what you want out of your campaign, too. Also, thanks Hero for some reason breaks people's minds. I have never played AD&D 2e, so I don't quite understand the Thax Hero system, like what the purpose behind it is. I know it exists, and I know there's a fucking table for it, so that makes it really easy to reference. But I don't know exactly how it works. Most characters do not get shine until level 3. Well, that's the case for all the D20s. Like, you go play anything in Pathfinder, 1st edition, up to level 3, and you'll just be sitting there being like, twiddling your thumbs because you have nothing to do in combat. It's like, well, you're a fighter, okay, you attack. You're a barbarian, you rage and attack. You're a wizard, you use your one spell and you attack. It's just gonna be that. It's like level 3 and onwards, that's when things start opening up a bit more. Your levels are generally pretty basic for all RPGs. Not like every single one, but for the most part, they are. Nightingale says, to be honest, I've been really loving Pathfinder. I'm probably going to run my next game as a Pathfinder 1E. If I had more time, I wouldn't necessarily mind GMing a game for people in general. Like, I'm already GMing a Dark Heresy game for some friends, while I'm using the experience from that to homebrewing a D100 Star Wars system that I'm going to switch over to. At some point, whenever it gets done, whenever. It's kind of a bit of work making an entire system. Like, even if I'm modifying a lot from Only War, I'm using Only War as the basis, but I'm still changing a lot of stuff. But, yeah, like... So, GMing more than one campaign is a bit of effort. But I have an idea for a Pathfinder campaign that I think could be kind of fun. It's like, well, I could squeeze in the time to do it, but that would really be squeezing in time to do it. And I also don't really have anyone to GM it for. Because currently I play in a Pathfinder campaign on Saturdays, usually. And I GM my Dark Heresy campaign on Sundays. It's like, well, my weekends are taken. Most people are available on weekends and all that. So yeah, time is the thing as well. To hit AC 0, in essence, is a different way to do armor class. In brief, to attack, you roll a d20. Any bonuses to attack you have and the enemy's AC is added to it. The lower the AC is, the harder it is to hit the target. Okay. Like, I'm sure the system makes sense if I actually go look at it. Like, if I actually go look at the numbers. I just know that it's notorious for being so scary to people, but I don't really know why. Like, nothing I've seen of it looks that scary to me. Nightingale says, my next campaign would be November, December on Sundays. You're welcome for spot pubs. Well, as I said, I'm GMing on Sundays. Another problem I have in RPGs is that I like to make... I like to think of a lot of character concepts. It's like... I can never decide on what I want to play. Bubbles, why don't you change the item filter? Because can't be fucked. I'm lazy, okay. Same reason I'm not doing devotion. Like, reason I'm really not doing devotion is because I need to think about what I want. So I'd just be sitting here for a while figuring out the devotion. And that would take a little bit of time. So I'd rather just do it off screen. I should probably change the item filter at some point, but yeah. I'm not high enough level for that to matter that much. Because I can get some weird items that are better now. The only system I played that used Tank Zero was Baldur's Gate. I should look into the Tank Zero system. Personally, I prefer the way the... I'm not really that big a fan of armor class. Like, sure, it's fine for like quick combat, but I'm not really a big fan of it. It's so unrealistic. I prefer the 40k RPG system way of doing it. It's not entirely realistic, but it strikes a fine balance between game logic and simplicity and complexity. For me, like, you have your toughness bonus, you have your armor, you reduce your toughness and armor, yada yada yada, then you can penetrate a certain amount of armor points. Simple, straightforward. It's just damage soak. That Zero is not... Yeah, I don't think it's particularly scary. I think it's just people see it as different and therefore scary. Complex. D100 is more granular and more controlled by the D20s. Well, D20 can be equally... not quite granular, but just as controllable. Because a D20 can just be treated as the equivalent of each 5 on a D100. So it can be fairly straightforward in that sense. Like, mechanically, they're not that different. It's just the way a lot of D20 systems do it that changes how it works. Nightingale says, I'm the same with character concepts. I'm my group's red shirt for that reason. I mean, I'm currently playing a... like, in Pathfinder, I'm currently playing a Paladin 2 Oracle X. Nature Oracle, specifically. GM allowed third-party stuff, so I got the... one of the Dragon Book stuff. And I have a, like, actual true dragon animal companion. Cost me, like, 2 or 3 feats. It's kind of expensive. That's my current character. As far as mechanics go. Another character idea I have that would be more suited for something like a one-shot is... that's a Goblin Inquisitor. It just sounds weird to me. I'm curious as to how it would play. Another character concept I have is a Kobold Dragon Disciple. Then there's, of course, the Brown Fur Transmuter Arcanist. That archetype is pretty nice. Anything else to say? An Orc Inquisitor with an animal companion bull. Basa, not Zoggit. I'm guessing and Zoggit. Sacred Huntsmaster Inquisitor is actually a pretty good archetype. You lose your judgment, but you get a whole animal companion with it, which is nice. In other systems, I like D100 dice pulls D6 systems and then D20. I would imagine you put dice pull D10 on the same level as D6. But yeah, I do prefer the D100 systems. Generally, they work in a way that pleases me. Which is exactly why I don't like the Saga Edition Star Wars campaign, Star Wars system. I've never looked at the D6 one. I'm not sure if it's any good, but I tried one of the demo things from Fantasy Flight's quote-unquote D100 Star Wars system, and I fucking hated it. It's so narrative. It's so narrative-driven. Like, combat is fucking retarded in that one. I'm genuinely curious, did anyone try... What's the fuck is the name? Like, Edge of the Empire or anything, or something like that? Those systems? I'm curious, did anyone in chat actually try those? Because I fucking hated it. I like some parts of it. Some parts of it are really nice, like the Triumph dice and stuff like that. Being able to... Having the dice change things like that. Like, little things. Like, you succeed, but something went wrong, despite your success. I love that! I love that! That's a fantastic idea. But playing the system is awful! I hate it! And combat is the worst thing. There's no combat rules in that system. There are just no rules for the combat. I see. Cave. Let's go take a look. I only play Shadows of the Empire. Is that an FFG one or is it a D6 one or what? Reminds me a lot of V5 Vampire. It's great until combat starts. Well, for Vampire, the 20th anniversary is better than V5 in my opinion. But, yeah, the combat isn't particularly great in that either. Dice pools and changing dice. See, I like the idea of the some of the dice. I really like that. It's like the GM can do a lot with that. You don't have to always think about something. It's just you get a dice says something happens. Okay, now you make something up. It can be simple. It can be harsh. But it's just something. You can also let the players decide what they want from it. I do like that. It's a nice little thing. Help. They hurt. They make me go, ow. Don't. Okay, that's one down. Another one down. Still 3. God damn. Deletes it. Even if I kill one of them, the other one's just gonna walk up. Oh, at least my build is fairly tanky. The gun, Bubs. Use the gun. How the fuck would that help me here? Thwack, thwack, thwack. And admittedly heavily tweaked Shadows of the Empire. I feel a lot of systems are just not all that good. They kind of have to tweak a lot of them. Shadow Fox donates $5 and says, one of the best instances of what you described that I've seen is a D&D skit someone made on YouTube. They kind of went murder hobo, and then the bard was trying to distract the crowd, but he rolled a crit and just got more people to show up. It's kind of beautiful. Like you can do that kind of stuff even without those kinds of dice, but getting those dice just incentivize you for doing that kind of stuff. It's really nice because as a GM, you have to think of a lot of things in the background as well. But when the dice are just like like you succeed, but something happens, you quickly just come off with something. You didn't necessarily think about it, and like the players won't be like, "You're punishing me for a success" or something like that. It's like, well, the dice said this because there is no such thing as a crit or anything in D&D. So yeah, well, there's crit in terms of damage, but not for like skill rolls or anything like that. You know, I'll take these just for the goddamn resistance. Yeah, thank you for the donation. Much appreciated. Why do zombies hurt? Because they smack hard. Zombie man, punch man. And yes, with retaliation damage I do want to be smacked to a certain degree, but when I start dying, that's probably a bit too much. You can run away and attack without getting hit. Yeah, and then it'll take 50 years to kill anything. And so Bob's making his own RP system when? I'm actually kind of making one now. It's a heavy modification of Omnivore essentially over to the Star Wars system. Should really set filters though. But I do like seeing all the loot. Kinda nice. I use crit as a catch-all instead of like saying roll nat 20. Well, the thing is, like, nat 20. Well, that's just the highest result you can get. A lot of DMs will give you like excessive results and call that critical success, but there's no such thing for that in the rulebooks. It's like nat 20 and a nat 19, there's only really 1 point difference between those two rolls. They're not all that different. And a meh. Melody, not particularly good. It is a common misconception that critical success is a thing. I don't know why. It's just like a lot of people like here, oh, big number, that's like critical, low number, critical. It's like, oh, no, please stop. So, Bubs, do you work out? Not really. I mean, the closest thing to workout I've done is, well, I mean, earlier today I was spending a couple of hours splitting wood. So, it's at least physical exercise. But I don't really work out, no. The only RPG experience I've got is watching other people play on YouTube. RPGs are fun. I do like tabletop RPGs. They are very fun. But the problem is, not that many people like to GM them. See, if you're smart, you will be like, hey, my friend group, well, we all have players, but we have no GM, so what I'll do is, I'll GM, but I'll use that as leverage. Don't need shoulders. Gloves, you say? Wait, I had some gloves, didn't I? Yes, I did. Yeah. We get those. My first experience was watching Arch do Lurking Hunger. I like some of Arch's GMing. Like, he does narrative really well. Part of the bit of the problem I had with Arch as a GM is the fact that he changed so many of the rules just to suit whatever he felt like. Which is a kind of GM style that I absolutely despise. When I play an RPG, I want to have a set rules that I want to know how the game is going to function. I want the game to be predictable. I don't want to have to ask the GM about every single little thing. Because I want to be able to do that action. It's like, okay, the book says that I roll, for instance, evaluate to check this one item. Okay, I roll evaluate. GM says that doesn't work. Like, why? Because GM says so. Don't like it. I like sticking to some semblance of raw. Which, for those who aren't familiar, is rules as written. The GM has final say is a guideline, not a rule, in my opinion. The rules exist for a reason. If you're just going to handwave the rules, then there are no rules. Bob's blackmailing friends, true mastermind. It's not blackmail. It's just you taking upon responsibility that requires quite a bit of work. Well, then you should be able to use that on players. Like, I put in all this effort, now you do something for me. Or something like that. And yes, rules can be broken if it means torturing Kibs. That's honestly one of the worst things you can do as a GM. Punishing players just for being at your table is genuinely one of the worst things to do. If you're punishing your players just for being whoever, whether it's because you don't like the person, because you don't want to fuck with the person, doesn't matter. Do not punish your players for being players. Do not punish them for being who they are. Do not punish them for any reason other than things they do in-game. If players do something bad in-game, feel free to punish their character in-game. That's it. So, for instance, if I do something when I GM and a player points out to me that the rule says that that's wrong, then the player's right. Unless I have something that there's a very specific reason for why I need to override that rule for that specific scenario, the player is more rather the rule book is more correct than the GM in that case. That's my thought on that. Because if you have no rules, then you're always going to be at the whims of whatever the GM wants. Your actions won't matter. You can't make any actions because only GM approved actions will be a thing. And that's it doesn't work for me. Because you're taken so out of the game, you have no idea what you can and can't do. It's actively harmful in my opinion. Nightingale says, yes, GM always lean in favor of the player's interpretation of the rules. I generally lean in the strict interpretation of the rules. I will give leeway. That's not a problem. I'll happily give leeway to my players. I absolutely don't mind giving my players some advantages. But the rules are the rules, and that's exactly how they are. Like, if I want to change them, I'll homebrew it. Or if I want to do something, and if I want to change it in the middle of a session, I'll ask the players then and there if it's okay to change it. If they're okay with me changing it. Like, in my Dark Heresy campaign, I have a handout given that the players all have access to that says homebrew and rules clarification, where I write down every little homebrew and rule clarification thing. If a rule is unclear, I will specify it there. My interpretation of that rule, or the agreed upon interpretation, whatever the fuck you want to define it as. So, Bobs, rules as written versus rules as intended. A bit in between. Depends a bit. Generally, if they're clearly supposed to be intended one way, and it's kind of a detriment, then absolutely rules as written. If the rules works fine as written, but they're not necessarily supposed to be interpreted that way, yeah, rules as written usually. It's situational in that regard. Dev rules lawyering was a staple of VTM. I mean, I didn't watch any of the VTM stuff. I've been watching the D&D stuff. And good God, they need a rules lawyer. Because there are no rules in that campaign. My 2 cents are, if you want to change rules, do it in session 0, or do it after the session before 1 by talking with your group, which is exactly what I do. I will sometimes make a decision to change it, but I'll talk to the players during the session about that specific rule. If there's something wrong and we feel it interferes with the gameplay, yada yada yada. I usually also run somewhere between like 4 to 7 hour sessions, so taking like 5-10 minutes out of that session to talk about rules isn't that big a deal, versus someone who has like 2 hour long sessions. I mean, if I change rules on the fly, I will talk about the players about it. I will get their approval mid-session for that. I won't just be like, this is how it works now. Unless it triggers me to such a fucking level that I just need to fix it right then and there without any input. So when it comes to punishing your players, are you the strict father type or the lenient mother type? Depends a bit. I mean, I'm currently running a Dark Heresy campaign. That's a bit on the harsher end. I'm actively trying not to be so harsh. I'm like, okay, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, that's fine. It's still a game, I'll still give them the progress and all that. I'll just take this part away, maybe I won't give them this, maybe I'll make it a bit hard for them, they won't get the optimal, they won't get the result they want, or something like that. I try to keep it fun, rather than just constantly beating them with a hammer every time they do something wrong. But it's still Dark Heresy. It's still like an investigative campaign type thing, so I have to be kind of harsh. Robert Perkins says, also Bob's on another note, you refuse to let level up is physically hurting me. I'm not dying, that's the thing. It's like, eh. But yeah, I do try to strike a balance between what's appropriate, not only for the system, but the setting, for the players, all that. But I do find myself having to be like, okay, now I'm feeling I'm being a bit too harsh, so I'll give the players something now. I do find myself doing that at some point. But it's something I actively try to look out for doing. Yeah, like, I've put things in my player's path that would get them fucking murdered. Like when one of my players charged a Margos, and they were fairly low level. Robin says, just level before the warden, please. Well, now I just want to keep... Now I just want to not level. But, like... most people wouldn't assume that they can take on a Margos, especially when I say that he has, like, a... Omnissiah power axe, and he pulls a fucking plasma pistol on them when they're running around with, like, auto guns and stuff like that. It's like... I'm hoping you're not expecting to win this. And one of my players charges the Margos, because the Margos pulls out a plasma pistol. That's basically my cue for, it's time to maybe consider running away. Didn't attack. He just pulled out his weapon. He drew a weapon. Didn't attack. That's me telling the players, it's time to leave, perhaps. You got kind of what you wanted. You pushed him to the point where he drew a weapon. So I'm like, okay, he pulls out. Player 1 charges. Okay. Well, he parries your charge. Then he fucking insta kills you with his power axe because it's a fucking Margos, and he does like 2d10 to I think 2d10 plus 14 damage or something like that. When the players have like what, 11, 12-ish health. Well, he didn't bounce off the armor because the Margos parried him. Then the guardsman decided to charge him while the rest of the party decided to run away. And the guardsman was wearing an explosive collar, so he started fidgeting with that in order to make it explode, which did absolutely 0 damage to the Margos. The explosion just did nothing. And yes, he was built like a fucking tank. He had an obscene amount of soak. What they ended up doing was running to the Margos on the ship they were on and tattling to him. So it ended up with Margos versus Margos fight. And then, of course, the players started assuming that Margos was a heretic as well. That was kind of funny. Let's see. Are you gonna not be a little bitch now? Maybe? Yeah, we're good, Okay. There we go. We're back. We are back. And I did level up. Now, where was I? Ah, yes. Theological debates between tech priests. Yeah, no, that part was done entirely narratively. But the fact that my players started thinking that tech priest was, like, possessed or something. it's fun. Cherish your players. They are adorable little creatures. And especially in Dark Heresy, where they start becoming really paranoid. Like, I'm having a hard time having my players make allies because they... Like, generally what I want to do for my players is to give them choices. I want to lead them more into like the gray area. So it's like sometimes you need to make allies with people you don't necessarily want to make allies with. So, for instance, someone who might have some slight connections with heretics, who can be a resource for them. The problem is, they kind of just want to kill them all. It's hard for me to give them allies, but I don't just want to give them allies either. Which is kind of especially funny because one of my players has a fucking pact with a demon. No, it's not a radical questline. It's just it's that in between. Like you need to every Inquisitor needs to have a power base. Every Inquisitor, like even the more Puritan ones, sometimes, just sometimes, do things they don't want to. They ally people they don't want to. They let the occasional heretic go because sometimes they need that person for something else. Night Game. Okay, let's go to Ketchup first. I remember watching a campaign where a sneak advisory type was being sneaky and. Not away. The party after that point was like, he's behind every bad thing that stands in our way. Yeah, that's such a typical player thing. It's like excessive persecution of NPCs. Elaborate more on the Demon Pact, please. Well, you see, one of my players decided to take an Adept and decided to take a particular thing that made him start with like he had a bit of knowledge about a demon, knowledge that he could use to leverage, but it's not a pact. It's more or less radical-ish approved stuff, which a full-blown pact generally isn't. It's kind of like a controlled environment thing. You get what I mean? So yeah, he started with that. So well, this one session I said that I had no plan for what would happen if our Psyker turned into a demon host. Of course, that's when the Psyker turned into demon host. Of course, that's the one session. Like, the one session I mentioned it is the one session the Psyker actually does turn into demon host. It's typical. So yeah, he turned to demon host, which can fairly easily kill the entire party, no problem. So the Adept decided that, well, fuck it, time for Plan Z or whatever. It's time to summon a Lord of Change to fight this demon host, because, well, what's the alternative? Death? So he summoned a Lord of Change. Lord of Change prompted to yeet said demon host with no problem, because it's the fucking Lord of Change. Now, I'm sad for my player because he didn't really get to play around with the demon host I made him make, because I made the player make the demon host and everything. He did all the roles and I let him control it. Because, hey, it's his psychic. He turned into demon host. Might as well let him have some fun with it. So yeah, he died on turn 1. So now the party had a, well... Now there was a Lord of Change there instead of demon host. It was a plan. I'm not sure it was the best plan. It was certainly a plan that was available to him at the time. But it solved the first problem. The second problem is that they now had Lord of Change, who started having a little petty fight with the cleric. Didn't really kill the cleric. Booped the cleric. once. After Cleric was being a bit annoying. Cleric used the Fate Point to stay alive, I think. No, he used the Fate Point, because he's a Cleric, he used the Fate Point to negate the attack. He also used the Fate... It was fucking retarded, the whole thing. Because the Lord of Change wanted the Cleric's sword, just because the Cleric didn't want to give it up. So the Cleric burned all his Fate Point trying to keep that sword. Until the Lord of Change got bored and went back to the Adept to summon him. See, now at this point, the party was having a serious big brain moment, so they started trying to get into position to attack the Adept. That was big brain moment for my players, since, well, it's a Lord of Change. Lord of Change can easily protect anything it wants, so they have this wonderful little psychic ability in the book that allows you to create a bubble. This tiny little bubble, like some 5 meters diameter, radius, something like that. It's a cute little thing. Anything inside a bubble is essentially removed from time. Just completely removed from time, essentially. So it did that, and then it just essentially dropped a nuke on the entire location, killing every single player. The poor Cleric had used all his Fate Points, so he was just flat out dead. The others had to burn a Fate Point, except for the Adept. So, or everyone but the Adept was out at that point. So, me, as a benevolent GM I am, decided to offer the Adept a pact with the demon. Just the very low cost of his soul in trade for the truly vague promise of power, which he said yes to, eventually. Which I, of course, was very happy with. Like, he didn't specify anything, just power to destroy his enemies, you know. Extremely vague thing that I can do just about whatever the fuck I want with. Fantastic little deal. Part of that deal was that every player's memory would be wiped as well of the events, which it does actually have the power to do, and if not, well, I can just make up any psychic powers I want, because that's what the fucking book says about Lord of Change. You can make up anything that would be appropriate. So yeah, that's how the Adept ended up with the Demon Pact. It was a wonderful little time. Sadly, I'm gotten fairly far on the Star Wars RP, and it's like, I kind of want to continue that campaign just so I can fuck with that one player. It's like, there are things I already have planned to fuck with him. Both for good and for bad. Like, I will keep my promise, he will get his power, it will have a cost. There are prices after all, like... There are consequences to your actions. But, yeah, no, I do want to continue that. I haven't had a session in a while because always something's come up. Sad. Sad! Robin says, any fan of Lord of Change and Priest playing tug of war over a chainsword? He kept even trying to attack the Lord of Change several times. It was kind of cute. But in the end, it cost him his life. Let him take levels in Sorcerer. He's already taken Sorcerer. He had already taken Sorcerer before the deal. Even before the deal, he was an unsanctioned Psyker. Actually, it didn't cost him his chainsword. The chainsword is I gave it to the party as an artifact. I basically just made it sanctified. Because he burned like 2 or 3 fate points trying to keep that fucking sword. So I was like, okay, well, the sword is now sanctified. It's basically a holy artifact at this point. All I can think of is a demon making a psycho with increased perils charge and just grabbing some popcorn. Nah. See, that's too simple. That's not ambitious enough. See, what you want are power all those subtle changes in the campaign. Where things just happen to go in certain players' favor and certain players just happen to find things or get things. Just these things, you know. Something about that player is always so lucky. I find that much more interesting than to be like, meh, you can have a psi rating. You're as good anyway, but that doesn't matter. I gave him a, not free choice of item, but asking for like a list of a few items with a individual worth like up to 2,000 thrones, and I like looked at that list and took something out of that. Like, I, for instance, wrote in a gearings into the campaign, which is generally used as a psychic familiar, so with all the equipment needed to make it a psychic familiar. So if he manages to get someone to install that into him, he can have a psychic familiar, for instance. Just stuff like that. But that's exactly what a lot of change would do. Subtle and intricate schemes, items of power that, oh look, you have the full set, the curse activates now. Yeah, kind of stuff like that. Like, having a familiar is a curse in and of itself. Like, there are gonna be questions if a player just struts around with a familiar. Like, I put it in front of him if he wants to try to make this, if he wants to try to like turn it into actual psychic familiar, he's free to do so. He's very much free to do so, and in fact, I very much encourage him. I tried to give him an opportunity to get someone who isn't a part of the AdMech, to get him in contact with someone who could install it. That went to shit because, well, he had a slight connection with a cult. Just a slight connection. Very slight. He might also be the psyker, but, you know. He's not... As a person, he's not the kind of person who means well. It's not like... As a person, he's not a direct threat to the Imperium or anything, any sort of that. So, he is someone they could have as a potential resource, because he is a noble. And I gave him the tools to blackmail him. What they do is they confront him with those tools, with those things, immediately, which puts him entirely on the defensive, which ruins just about any chance of that happening. So, instead of him becoming an ally, he's now tried to have them killed. Now, I will of course give them another chance to turn him into an ally, but I'm not sure if the players will go through with that. But we'll see. The poor players have been fucking around with hive gangers for a large part of their campaign so far. And I'm kind of wanting to finally get part with that part, which is just round up a small cult on a crappy little planet, then it moves over to the noble section of that same hive, where there will also be potential allies to be had. Ooh, are you any good? Increased constitution, shield damage blocked, pierce resistance, stun duration reduction, not that big a deal. Increased physique, yeah, sure, we'll go for you. You seem like a nice chap. Let's see. Yeah, let's go for some raw stats for now. Yeah, players tend to willpower NPCs like a mallet sometimes for no discernible reason. Yeah, like, I completely get where they're coming from, but sometimes you just wish your plays would be so straightforward. You know, if it wasn't Psychic, I might suggest the demon might turn him into a blank for the power in fighting other Chaos Gods. I mean... that's not very Sinchian, though. Any specific high gangs? No, just ones I made up. Like, everything I do in my setting is entirely made up. There's also this running joke that that just about everything is some different gang's fault, because there are a lot of bad rolls in my campaign, and one of my players rolled 100, which is the worst roll you can make, on an underworld check to... he didn't necessarily roll 100, but it looked close to 100. On an underworld check to recognize a gang or something. So I was like, it's the Bilbarge gang. You know it from your home planet. So it's like... So there's a lot of things that have now started being like connecting back to the Bilbarge gang just because of that. Which is entirely a making of my own creation. Why would a demon turn someone into an anti-demon weapon? I could kind of see if it was Khorne. The Siege could pretend... Like, the Siege could do it just as a lol XD random thing, but that's kind of like meh. I like how the one zombie ended up there. Like, you doing okay up there? We're like, oh, yeah, I'm doing fine. No, the trick is that he can turn him back if he gets in Demon's way and can kill it. Well, no, that wouldn't really work. Because once you're a blank, a demon can't fuck with you. That's kind of the thing with being a blank. Yes, Khorne has collars for that kind of stuff. I'm much closer to see that. Giving like a collar of Khorne or whatever they were called. Yeah, Khorne doesn't really deal that kind of stuff. Khorne just be like, hey, you're a good warrior. I like you. That's more of Khorne's MO. You're a tanky boy, aren't you? 55,000 health. No, I'm just having horrible RNG. Okay. Okay, then. Yeah, no, I really do want to get to the parts where I can start bringing that kind of stuff in again. Like, demon packs are fun. And I'm not the kind of GM who's like, oh, you made a demon pact? Well, now you're just gonna get fucked. It's like, no. We are going to have fun. It's gonna have to be fun for the player. It might not necessarily be optimal for the player all the time, but it should be fun for the player. I'm very much of the opinion that everything should be fun. Like, if your RP isn't really fun for the players, it's not quite... something's wrong. I wish more people did Khorne champions as consummate strategists and cruel masters of warfare than generic bloodthirsty mad circus. There are both. But yeah, the tactical geniuses are severely underused. People just automatically assume that's like, yeah, that's a Zinchian thing. Though, I think Fantasy Khorne is a bit more like that, but even then, it's not really. But like, Khorne himself is a bit more like honor and strategy rather than 40k Khorne. Because I think 40k Khorne is a bit more like blood and gore and skulls and all that. I might be a bit mistaken. I'm not overly familiar with it, but I think there's a distinction there. But I might be wrong. Ketchup says, so Bobs, how long you plan on streaming? I'm not sure. I've been going for some... over 3 hours now. I'll probably get to Krieg and then end it. That sounds like a good point to end it. I think. Rather, I kill Krieg and then end it. I feel like that's a good point to reach. I'd kind of also want to stream Tropico 4 one day, because I really like Tropico 4. Tropico 4 is fun. Oh, the import system in 4 is so much better than 6. God, why did it... I want passive imports again. I miss passive imports. Passive imports are great. You don't have to sit and micro everything. Guys, why did they make active imports? Thwack, thwack, thwack. Alice applying our way through the baddies. Robin Perkins says, yeah, an Imperial High Command champion always seemed more interesting than just another World Eater. Exactly. Just like Slanesh is always all like almost every time you look at Slanesh, it's like, of course they start removing Slanesh from just about everything, but it's always like mentioned like sex, drugs, and rock and roll essentially. Like that's just one aspect of Slanesh. Where's the pride? Where's the gluttony? Like, in terms of hierarchy, personally, I'd rank, like, sex, drugs, and rock and roll to be on the lower end of that. Personally, because pride is... Pride can be so much more malicious. Slanesh is the chaos god of pride as well. And I much prefer... I think the gluttony people lump in with Nurgle, well, they're a bit in between. Depends a bit. Like, Slanesh is always referred to as just the god of sex. Like, sure, sex is a part of it. Drugs is also part of it. But I find pride to be a far more interesting angle. Like, sex is just sex. Like, sure, you can have your massive orgies and everything. But take Pride up to 11, then you get like Sigval and stuff like that, and that's much more interesting to me. Yes, Nurgle is bloated with disease, but not necessarily gluttonous. Like, people generally view Nurgle as fat, so therefore gluttony. Like, there is a bit of overlap, of course. Because Nurgle is decay, gluttony is intrinsically connected to decay in a sense. Well, that's level 30, but that's pretty good. Hermit's leg guards. Are you any good? Epic pants. I mean, sure, why not? Rare metal. No. 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 Vitality, increase health. Sure. But I personally prefer the more subtle things over the just straight in your face. It's one of the reasons why Khorne isn't exactly what I'd consider to be my favorite Chaos God. I generally, like, if I have to choose one, I easily prefer Tzeentch. But I find that subtlety is so underutilized when it comes to the Chaos Gods. It's criminal, almost. Now, Spooters. Spooter access was where? It's over here, wasn't it? Spooters! The process of getting bloated via food seems more mind to Slanesh to me. Yeah, it is. A lot of people just connect fat with Nurgle. Ketchup says because that requires effort to do. It does require effort and good writing. That's the thing, like, even if you go into, like, the lore, the Chaos God are supposed to be, like, subtle manipulators. Essentially. Well, most of them are. It's like, it's not chaos directly that's the threat, it's the fear of your population is being slowly falling into chaos. That's the danger. And that's so underutilized, it's painful. I just want good writing, okay? That's so much to ask. I mean, I know it is. I know it is. Shoulders that are worse than mine. Helmets that I don't need. Amulet. Ah, Provoke is really good though. I'm gonna keep Provoke for a while. You mean Ketchup? And yeah, Chaos Gods are not really that subtle in 40k stuff, I see now. Yeah, it's like... that like, in everything, it's explained that chaos is always supposed to be that subtle threat that's looming in the background. That fear that the population will fall to it over time. But instead it's always depicted as raging lunatics charging through whatever the fuck they want. And that's just a shame. Also, Shadowfox donates $5 and says, lol, it's because of 40k that most people forget that the Chaos Gods have two sides. A highly insidious side as well as a noble side. Yes. I'm pretty sure it's a lot more of that in fantasy rather than 40k. Because 40k is fairly just chaos smack. I'm pretty sure that fantasy is more subtle in that regard. Thank you for the donation, Shadowfox. Fantasy handle the gods much better than 40k does, yes. For instance, Khorne. Korn is about honorable battles and all that in fantasy. In 40k is more about just kill, just kill. Smack, smack, smack. Do need to kill things. Do need XP. XP is good. XP man, good man. Oh well. Sadly, 40k's writing is not exactly what one would call improving, so I don't think we're going to see the Chaos Gods improve much in that sense. Like, Slanesh is easily being sanitized. Like, some sanitization, well, not necessarily sanitization, like, keep the fucked up shit, keep the body horror slash sex aspect going. It's kind of interesting, but also realize that pride, those kind of feelings, such as pride and desire, are far more insidious than, just, lol, I stick wee-wee inside poo-poo. It's such a child's understanding of excess. And if there's one thing that 40k doesn't really need, I think it's... I don't think 40k needs any more childish or interpretations of concepts. I think there's plenty of that going around as it is. Chad Fox says, yeah, not going to lie, if it wasn't for Arch, I would be one of those people that think Khorne is only a god of blood, but also a god of honorable battle. Yeah, like, it's almost never brought up. Like, the natural and good sides of the Chaos Gods are almost never brought up. Because they're always depicted as just inherently evil for some reason. They're not. They're generally forces of... often forces of nature, or if they're not forces of... well, they're all forces of nature in a way, but they're also just... they embody the best and worst of humanity, for instance. Like, they're not just all the bad things. They're just generally corrupted concepts of good things, but they're still not necessarily inherently bad things. Thwack, thwack, thwack. This build doesn't kill things very fast, but we're not exactly dying a lot. I like the fact that I'm running out of stamina. That part's kind of great. Yeah, Games Workshop seems to forget Slanesh is technically an elder god of everything wrong with them. Well, a bit, yeah. Like, Slanesh is not exclusively an Eldar thing. It was caused by the Eldar, but these are not concepts that are... They're not concepts that are exclusive to the Eldar. Like, anyone can embody the same traits. Oh well, time for Krieg. I wish I got a bit more XP.
I've been expecting.
Oof, that hurts. Well, this boss fight is going to take a little bit. It's not doing a whole lot of damage to me, though.
Why won't you die?
I'm just hoping it won't do enough damage to kill me. Because I've got healing that triggers when I reach that low. That healing is super nice. This is a lot of healing. Core values strength, valor, and unbending will, but unlike those in service to an ideal, he values those in service to battle and bloodshed itself. Exactly. He's no paladin. In that sense. It's like, a lot of people would consider those to be like paladin ideals in some regard, but they're not used for good. Whack, whack, whack.
You, I will crush your friends at Devil's Crossing.
I've actually ran out of stamina. Let's use a stamina potion.
You are strong.
Oh god, this boss fight. I've never had it take this long. But, yeah. Tanky, just easy piece build, essentially. Ah well, we're booping Krieg. Krieg shall die. And there procs the healing. I might actually have to use potions here because this phase is doing a fair amount of damage. Survival of the fittest is part of corn, yes. You have to be able to provide for yourself. Because corn doesn't abide by weak individuals who can't defend themselves. Whack, 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 it's the boss fight. That's what Chaos got. Like, the one Chaos got that cares most for his followers is easily Nurgle. Like, Nurgle cares more. Ooh.
That skill's not ready.
Pain. I'd rather not die here after all. That would be kind of bad. Almost dead. Around here, heal up a bit. And we get a fucking owie right there. Yeah, heal again. Thank God for potions. Yep. Well, that's kind of nice. Like, usually these bosses die in a few seconds, but it's kind of nice to actually get to fight them too. Bam. Boss dead. Boss man, dead man. It says, I did that once in a fantasy campaign. An Imperial soldier player killed a corner champion in single combat in an arena. Long story, and after the battle he began noticing his sword was better. Oh boy. Sounds like a fun old time. Grim Harvest boots. They're not particularly good for me. Master of Death would be fantastic for a necromancer. But I'm not a necromancer. Health regen? Nah. Yeah. Good chest, what do you have for me? Golem Fist Gavel, 200. God damn it. A ring. You're an upgrade, easily. And you're not an upgrade. And then we put you there. Grab this. Take the armor rack. Groundstone, grounded by item. Increase physique. Yeah, no, we're going with these. And the fucking 20 billion levels. We'll have to equip them, but yeah, well, it's a thing. And back we go. Little Wife says, I'm sure they had a very happy ending, Avenger. Oh, I'm sure it did. They flunked a few rolls and deducted that had been blessed by Sigmar. I mean, ignorance is bliss. There's a reason that's a saying after all. Now, let's hand in the quest.
Is it finished? The Warden's defeat is a great victory.
And we have level up to do. Anything here that would be particularly good? The duration ability. I don't really like those. They're not what I want. That's the thing. You are kind of nice. So we'll go with you. Now, we beat Kriegman, Badman. We beat him, we booped him. Right. Let's talk with this. This man. Bear the bridge, and then it's go off. So, I think that'll be it for today. Unlike Carl, we're going to try to stay within the 2 to 4 hour mark. But, yeah, I think this is a good place to end it. So, thank you for coming. I truly appreciate it. Let me give you all the platitudes. It's nice to have people to talk to when you stream, you know. It's nice to be able to bounce off chat rather than sitting here being like, oh, people aren't saying dick. I guess I just have to sit here and come up with something to say. Yeah, it's always nice to have people watching. It's also nice that people, you know, enjoy the entertainment you provide. That's kind of nice. Yeah, thank you for coming, and we'll see how things go from here, because I'm not entirely certain if I... We'll see what happens next week. We'll see. So, good night, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good whatever it is for you. Goodbye.